Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitzy coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to talk about Pultech, one of the most throwback original great granddaddy EQ of all time. The Pultech is such a beautiful equalizer, absolutely timeless. The Pultech was originally created in the 1950s as one of the beginning primitive type of EQ. So I wanted to talk about why tubes are such a great, beautiful way of also helping your vocals have a little bit of sheen, a little bit of presence, pulling them forward in front of the mix and everything like that. Why tube saturation is important for the positioning of stuff too. So let's not waste no time. Let's get on the grind and let's see what gems we can find today. Okay, so I'm gonna play the song first and then we're gonna talk about it. Let's go.
Bitch got her pieces, designer thesis, income increases, sweet baby Jesus, supercar keyless, feet off the meters, 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, catch me in my lineup, handcraft attire, one single buyer, never one prior, pressure applier, give me nothing less than best, that's on my soul. That Fendi too cold, watch rose gold, buy and hold out, knew it can't be sold.
Okay, so that's the idea of the song that we have here today. So, the Pultech is a very interesting type of unit. I always talk about this, but here's a great picture. The Pultech, when I see a Pultech, I think of these three triangles right here. So this controls the low end, right? This is the low shelf, right? And we're going to look at the shapes of the way it actually is. And then right here, this is the high bill. The Pultech was also one of those first EQs that gave a variable Q. So usually back in the day, you could pick how much boosting you wanted to do, but you didn't get to control how wide or how narrow that boost was. A wider Q is like this, it's kind of like a really wide thing that also affects maybe a little bit more of the ballpark frequencies that are in the neighborhood a little bit farther out. It has a little bit farther out reach when it has a wider Q. When it has a very narrow Q, it becomes kind of like a surgeon or something like that. Very precise cuts, very precise moves down to the T, down to the wire type of situation. And then also you have the high shelf as well. Okay, so the beautiful thing about a Pultech is that I don't believe it actually has an active circuit in it. Of course, the input and the output has the amplification circuit, but the way the Pultech actually does the EQing, that's not an active circuit, right? So of course, over here in the back, the booty of the Pultech, you can start to see those nice tubes that are known for giving a lot of warmth, a lot of presence, even a very musical top end sheen that we're going to be looking at here today. So there's a bunch of different types of Pultechs, and sometimes people go in the back of the Pultech and they start changing out the tubes, start changing out the components, and that will produce a custom different sound for their Pultech that they got. Okay, so let's look at how we can use Pultechs in the DAW a bunch of different ways. First thing that I think the Pultech is dope for is the master fader. A lot of the times when you do something like two bus compression, right, you might lose a little bit of the hair on the back of the mix, a little bit of the backside, the spine of the mix might start to be gone, which is the low end. The foundation you might start to lose a little bit of that once you do something like two bus compression, because usually in rap music, the most energy is in the low end, right? Let me actually show you what this literally looks like rather than say. So look at the bottom frequencies right here. They kind of have more energy than any other part of the song.
Bitch got her pieces, designer thesis, income increases, sweet baby Jesus, supercar keyless, feet off the meters, 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, catch me in my lineup, handcraft for bitch got her pieces, designer thesis, income increases, sweet baby Jesus, supercar keyless, feet off the meters, 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, catch me in my lineup, handcraft attire, one single buyer, never one prior.
Even on the two bus compressor, you can start to see how it's really the 808 that's really driving the bus compression. Usually the 808 and the kick is the primary groove of the music anyway. So that's kind of what we do want. Main thing I'm trying to say is like your mixed bus compressor, depending on the attack and how grabby it is gonna become like Pac-Man and start to gobble up the 808 and the kick a little bit. So sometimes it might be a good move to use a little bit of EQ EQ after your bus compressor. And if I ever do something like that, I always use a Pultech because it has a very musical curve. It has an hourglass EQ figure type of shape. You feel me? So I only like to do like incremental boost, maybe a little bit on the bottom and a little bit on the top. But this is a secret Pultech that a lot of people might not even know that they have, which is included inside of OZONE. You go over here and you go to vintage EQ. It's literally a Pultech. So, usually if you boost a lot on, look at how, everything starts to just become white. It's not just, 100 hertz. It's kind of everything around it. And then there's a little bit of a dip. So it's kind of like a boosting and cutting type of situation. So let's look at how, I would approach something like, EQing my master fader using something like a Pultech,
Bitch got her pieces, these on a thesis. Income increases, sweet baby Jesus. Super car keyless, feet off the meters. 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, cashmere in my lineup. Handcraft attire, one single buyer, never one prior. Pressure applier, give me none less than best, that's on my soul. That Fendi too cold, watch rose gold. Buy and hold out, no it can't be sold. Fly across the world just to get it if it's worth it. Designer said he aimed to get it damn near luxury purchase. Yeah, cause he earned it, pay for the service, crafted with purpose. Yeah, I put Basquiat next to Leonard. Cruising my Tesla through Northern Lombardy. Shopping in Milan, grande. Spinning big racks because I can. MX black card in my hand. They swipe, they run it, do ran. I can't pronounce the shit worth a damn. Strip handcraft Italian. Your mouth just shopping in Milan. Come fresh out the hood to buy designer good. Nothing less than best dressed just like I should. I remember days when I used to be modest. Now anything on me must be exotic.
So I really like to approach it with a very, very delicate, numbers, because I do understand that what's going to happen is the Pultech is going to be affecting my melody, my hi-hats, my mid-range, any other little background instruments inside of the 2-track beat, as well as my vocals. So, when you comes to using a Pultech on your master fader, listen to what it's doing to everything, pay attention. Is certain things starting to stick out, starting to poke out? And I think it's very important to understand using a Pultech on your master fader, because it's also going to go into your limiter towards the end of the mix. And if you start to, let's say you start to jack up more low end on your Pultech, because of course we like that big bass, right? If you boost too much bass, what's going to happen is that limiter is going to start working too hard. It's going to start choking the entirety of the mix, and your mix might not be able to get as loud as you want it to get and bump and thud. So that's the beautiful part about mixing, trying to make the bass hit hard and still feel good. When it comes to using a Pultech on a lead vocal, whenever I want a vocal to literally just come forward, like just take a step forward, I usually like to pull up something like a Pultech EQP1A, and I literally just turn it on. That's it.
Bitch got her pieces, these on a thesis. Income increases, sweet baby Jesus. Super car keyless, feet off the meters. 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, cashmere in my lineup. Handcraft attire, one single buyer, never one prior. Pressure applier, give me none less than best, that's on my soul. That Fendi too cold, watch rose gold. Buy and hold out, no it can't be.
This is a different way that I like to use a Pultech compared to other people. I like to use it for positioning. When I want something to take one step forward in the mix, I just pull out the Pultech and that's it. So I use it more of like positioning, like how I'm arranging the song, how I'm arranging my vocal. If I feel like my vocal is it's just blended in a little bit too well, I will tell, the vocal to, hey, come up to the front of the audience using something like a Pultech, just turn it on and that's it. So, the thing about that is, I think that a way to really get precise with tube saturation that's coming from the nature of tube saturation, the reason why the Pultech brings a vocal one step forward is because of the nature of tubes, the way it saturates, the way it adds a little bit of density to the mid-range as well as a little bit of the top-end sheen, Pultech is a great way, alternative to not having to use boosting EQ, right? I would use something like Spectre 2, which lets me really dial in my saturation, right? So I usually like to use, let's say, tube saturation, right? But then I get to pick specifically where I want to boost. So listen to how, tube saturation is a great alternative in something like the top end.
Bitch got her pieces, he's on a thesis. Income increases, sweet baby Jesus. Super car keyless, feet off the meters. 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, cashmere in my lineup. Handcraft attire, one single buyer, never one prior. Pressure applier, give me none less less than best, that's on my soul. That Fendi too cold, watch rose gold. Buy and hold out, no it can't be sold. Fly across the world just to get it if it's worth it. Designer said he aimed to get it damn near luxury purchase. Yeah, cause he earned it, pay for the service, crafted with purpose. Yeah, I put Busky on MixLikeNix. Cruising my Tesla through northern Lombardy. Shopping in Milan, grande. Spinning big racks because I can.
So as you can hear, a very, very, very silky high end you can obtain from using something like tube saturation. Just don't gotta be this plugin. It could be a different plugin, but that's the nature of tube saturation. It gives you that brightness, a little bit of that crystal clear clarity without the harshness. Now, of course, it did sound very bright, too bright, but I'm just making it blatantly obvious to you that you didn't really hear nothing poking out, nothing piercing, nothing annoying. You know what I mean? So I really like to use Spectre. And another way I like to obtain clarity, because there's a difference between brightness and clarity. For me, clarity is I understand every single word you're saying. Brightness, to me, is more like high frequency sparkle. How shiny is it? You know what I mean? So when somebody says, oh, I want more clarity in the vocals, I might use something like Spectre, and I'll use tube saturation, right? And I usually like to do a little bit of tube saturation boost, because this is not EQ, this is saturation. I use it like on the 1, the 3, the 3Ks. That's where the hell frequency is at. Adding a little bit of tube saturation to that hell frequency will, you know, take a little bit of Himalayan pink salt, sprinkle it all over it, and make it very apparent what the artist is saying.
Shopping in Milan, bitch got her pieces, he's on a thesis. Income increases, sweet baby Jesus. Supercar keyless, feet off the meters. 100 racks on clothes, they say it's needless. Find a designer, cashmere in my liner. Handcraft attire, one single buyer, never one prior. Pressure applier, give me none less than best, that's on my soul. That Fendi too cold, watch rose gold. Buy and hold out, no it can't be sold. Fly across the world just to get it if it's worth it. Designer said he aimed to get it damn near luxury purchase. Yeah, cause he earned it, pay for the service, crafted with purpose. Yeah, I put Busky on MixLikeNix. Cruising my Tesla through northern Lombardy. Shopping in Milan, grande. Spinning big racks because I can. MX black card in my hand. This way.
So you hear a lot more clarity. There's a difference between brightness and clarity. That's why you pay a professional engineer. That's why you come to a professional, because they know the vocabulary. They understand the difference between brightness and clarity. Some people might think that's the same exact thing. Maybe to you it is. It's okay. But whenever I want to get a little bit of transparency, a little bit of that glassy type of vocal, I like to use a little belt. And I could even become even more narrow with this and really find out where, you know, that cadence of her voice is at, because everybody's like cadence is a little bit different. It's usually in the Ks. 1K, 2K, 3, 4, 5K, right? It's usually in the Ks, but once you find somebody's like where their true articulation of their voice is at, and you go on there with Spectre and you boost it up with Tube, you can add a nice little shimmer without that harshness, those S's, those nasty things that distract us from what the person is saying. So that's pretty much, you know, kind of like the end of the video that I got here today for y'all. I just want to say thank you very much for being a great part of my YouTube family, checking out Pultech and how to use tube saturation to get a pro sound. All right, just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.